Welcome back to Stocklabs for another market recap. This one for the week ended September the 3rd. So we finished up August trade on this past Tuesday, and also August finished as a pretty decent month. And now we just started up September trading. Now September is typically a bearish leaning month. I mean, it's statistically the softest month of the year as far as seasonality goes. So obviously, I've seen this published a lot of places. I don't know if it's going to play out exactly the same way this year, but it is something to keep in mind. Um, so now that this is Labor Day weekend, we had the first couple of days of September trading were pretty uneventful. Actually, the whole week was pretty uneventful, and that's what sort of we were expecting in last week's recap, that there wouldn't be too much to really be worried about this week, because you have the end of the month sort of in the middle of the week for August, and then the first few days of the new month into a long weekend, Labor Day weekend, is, it's just not a scenario where there's going to be very large moves happening in markets. Um, so how did we go for the week exactly? All right, Q's outperformed, up 1.5%. Then the rest kind of, yeah, I mean, this is like flattish action. IWM up 67 bips, S&P up 61. I mean, this could have just as easily been flat, like with, you know, another day of trade or whatever. The Dow finished fractionally down, so this is basically a flat week for the Dow. Bonds down again. Probably the bond market's going to have some more action in it in the next several weeks, because we have um, there's the debt ceiling on the horizon. There's speculation on the Federal Reserve and tapering, not tapering, all that sort of stuff, which um, could rattle the bond market one way or another. But we'll just keep an eye on it as it's happening. And then let's see, our industries for the week. Pretty solid week, flattish. I mean, healthcare outperformed. Tech was strong. Utilities unusually strong. Um, Financials flat. Consumer flat. Services flat. Basic materials. This is still kind of a wild trade. I mean, sometimes, I think last week the material stocks were up huge. This week they extended a little bit, but not much. As far as subsectors go, top of the list was nuclear. I don't know if there was any sort of action in this sector or something, but sort of an outlier as far as performance goes. Then drugstores, generics, and 3D printing were the top four. They're the only ones up 5% or more for the week. And the rest, I mean, kind of whatever. Down sectors, we've got retail things, so apparel stores, department stores. Um, yeah, but I mean, there was only apparel was down 6.5%, then 4, and then the rest of these sort of you know end up going to whatever. It was a mild week, so there weren't a whole lot of wild moves other than that nuclear one that I don't know what happened there. I'm not even going to look it up because it's not something I pay attention to. So that keeps that easy for me. Okay, so let's check out our market cap breakdowns. So 1 to 5 billion, up 1%, and 5 to 10 billion, up 1.7%, and large caps 1.3%, mega caps 70 bips up, and 100 billion plus cap companies up 70 bips too. So not bad. I mean, actually, it kind of skewed on the lower end. Things under 50 billion cap were a little bit of outperformers for the week, which is kind of surprising because when we saw the indices, it was like the Nasdaq was leading. So usually that means that the larger caps things are going to be outperforming. Now, I can look at the largest. I think these guys had a pretty good week, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So Netflix up almost 6%. Amazon adds another almost 4%. So Amazon's been 3 weeks like straight up at this point, I think. What's that? 30, almost 3,500. So I think it went from like 3,100 to almost 3,500 in, basically a straight line. So Amazon been rallying hard. Apple, pretty strong week. And even Tesla up adding 3%. The rest kind of mixed. So Facebook and Google, flat-ish. I think there was some, I don't know, there might have been some court rulings as far as antitrust stuff, which doesn't ever go anywhere, but sometimes spooks people in those stocks, especially since they're so widely held. You know, just weighs on them sometimes. And Microsoft basically a flat week. So yeah, altogether they were up 2.5%. So basically carried the Nasdaq and made that be the outperformer for the week. We'll go back to intelligence. And what are we looking at for this week? Now, I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight on a lot of this stuff because, like I said last week, I'm considering this the start of a new month, which usually sometimes sets new trends as far as flows and things go because people are sort of starting to get positioned for the end of the year and everything like that. But we'll take a look at this stuff. So oil, copper, India. India's been pretty strong for a while. Let's see, Brazilian small caps. I mean, you can get involved in that if you want, but I don't. And then what is this? Credit Suisse monthly pay to. Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to look it up. It looks like something shady. And transports and what is this? Is probably like dividend payers in the Russell, which yeah, whatever. We're not going to bother ourselves with that. You just invert this and see what the deal is. Less. Okay. So UVXY volatility is supposed to be down. Ultra short Russell is supposed to be down, so maybe the Russell follows through a little bit more. I mean, it's been, I wouldn't say it's been strong, but it's bounced, pretty well off its most recent lows. So, you can try and play for an extension, but I wouldn't really press it. And then, yeah, so VIXI, another volatility ETF, and was this coffee? I mean, I don't know anyone that trades coffee, but supposed to be bearish. Um, yeah, so none of this stuff sticks out. I mean, you really want to see stuff like, you know, major index ETFs on here, or you know, semiconductors, things like that. I mean, this is all kind of just like wishy-washy stuff, in my opinion. But I mean, it's all backed by statistics. It's just, you know, maybe sometimes you want to. I think in this case, I'm just going to put in a little bit of context and sort of ignore this, ignore these for right now. Okay, so for this week, it's kind of, you know, I don't know what to expect. I'm just going to see how it goes for the start of the week, because you know, some of these seasonality things become self fulfilling, and people might just come in on Tuesday or whatever and start thinking, all right, September's bearish. I got to start selling stuff. And like, you know, why would you step in on the basically the first day and try and buy that? I mean, to me, it would seem a little premature, but or it'll just, you know, we'll just continue, and you know, the seasonality thing doesn't end up playing out, which I think would probably frustrate a lot more people, because it's like people sort of wait around. And they figure, oh, you know, I don't have to do anything during the summer months, because I'll have a chance to buy stuff back in the, you know, in September, you know, for the end of the year rally, and then everything rallies over the summer, and then it doesn't pull back in September, and then you're kind of locked out. And at that point, you'd probably be looking for a huge move higher in the market just because people had to chase it. But that's all way down the line in the future. I mean, for this week, it's kind of just play it by ear and see how, um, just see how things look. I mean, I don't think there's any rush to do anything drastic here for now. You can see here we do have some overbought signals on 3 month hybrid or whatever, going back, you know, the last week or so, but um, you know, they can just burn off with time too. So, which would be sort of like a flattish market. Here we had one on 6 month. So August 27th. When is that? That was the week. That was the prior week. So not worried about that. Okay. So that's it for me. We did release a new tool in Stocklabs inside the screener. So we've got some new functionality. I'll make a video on that coming up, sort of explaining what it does and how some of us are using it already to find some trades throughout the day. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, talk to you guys later in the week.